Welcome into the final day of our Locked On's Top 50 Most Valuable NFL Players list presented by the Summer of Dave. Dave is the banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. I'm Kainani Stevens. This isn't just your normal MVP conversation. This list was built in conjunction with our partners at BetOnline. The value of a player when it comes to making the point spread for each game is what this is about. So how does your favorite player move the line? We've reached the top 10. Make sure you go back and check out how we got here by subscribing to Locked On NFL wherever you get your podcasts. We've broken it all down for our Locked On hosts who cover these teams every single day. Yesterday, we covered 20 through 11, which left us off at Kyler Murray. Today, we kick things off with BetOnline's 10th most valuable player, Dak Prescott, quarterback for the Cowboys.
Dak Prescott listed as the 10th most valuable player in the league. It's a great start, but I guarantee you that is not where he wants to finish. Hi, I'm Landon McCool with the Locked On Cowboys podcast, and Dak Prescott is valuable to the Dallas Cowboys, not only because he's the quarterback, not only because he's the leader, but because he's an incredible player as well. When he has been healthy, he has consistently led this team to being one of if not the top offense in the NFL. And the only downside has been dealing with the inconsistency that has come often through injury issues. But a whole offseason, being able to recover without having to deal with any kind of recovery from surgery or recovery from an injury, a full healthy offseason should return Dak to form and should have him rising up this list quite quickly. For more on the Dallas Cowboys, make sure you check on the Locked On Cowboys podcast and check on the Locked On NFL podcast for all your NFL needs.
A former MVP comes in at number 9 on the BetOnline Top 50, and he goes into the 2022 season with plenty to play for on a contract year. Questions have started to circle around him, though, after a 2021 season with just 16 touchdowns to 13 interceptions. Number 9 on the BetOnline Top 50 is Lamar Jackson, quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens.
This is Kevin Ostreicher, host of Locked On Ravens. And personally, I don't see 8 players that are better than Lamar Jackson in the NFL in terms of their ability to be the most valuable to their team. In fact, I believe that Lamar Jackson is the number 1 most valuable player throughout the entire NFL, throughout the entire league, for a multitude of different reasons. Now, when you get into those top 10 players who could be the most valuable, there's a lot that each brings to the table. But for the Ravens, Lamar Jackson brings so much with his arm, so much with his legs, and the Ravens literally built their entire offense around Lamar Jackson. So him missing, let's say, a season, I don't think would go particularly well. And Lamar Jackson did miss the final chunk of the 2021 season, and Baltimore ended up losing every game that he was not in that final chunk. They did win a game earlier where he missed a game, but still, the Ravens, their offense was decently different. They have quarterbacks who can run the offense, such as Tyler Huntley, in their system. But Jackson, he adds so much to the team. And if he were to miss any amount of time, like we did see in 2021, I think that this season would be a wash, much like 2021 was. And for what he's been able to do based off his improvements as a passer, his improvements as a football player, I think that he is the number 1 most valuable player in the NFL. For more on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, be sure to follow the Locked On Ravens podcast and subscribe on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
One of the biggest moves of the offseason sent our next quarterback to the stacked AFC West. And while he's number 8 in all of the NFL, he's only 3rd in his division on the BetOnline list. The Denver Broncos hope to fight for a title once again with quarterback Russell Wilson.
Denver Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson inside the top 10 when it comes to the most valuable players in affecting betting lines, according to BetOnline.net. This is Cody Rourke, host of Locked On Broncos, and Russell Wilson coming in at number 8 on the BetOnline's NFL Top 50 players when it comes to value towards money lines and things along that nature. This is big because the Broncos have not been in this conversation since a certain quarterback who was Peyton Manning. You all guessed it for yourself. You thought I was going to say Joe Flacco or Drew Lock? Come on, man. We're not even getting into that detail here. But for the Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson is a player at the position of quarterback, the most important position in all of football that helps transcend, helps make everybody around him better. When we factor in the Broncos' offensive weapons with Cortland Sutton, Jerry Jeudy, Tim Patrick, KJ Hamler, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, they have a lot of players who can contribute, and Russell Wilson being in the lineup makes them that much more valuable. For more on Russell Wilson and his value to this Denver Broncos team, check out the Locked On Broncos podcast, free and available everywhere you get your podcasts.
The reigning Super Bowl champs get their signal caller on our list at number 7. For the second straight year, a quarterback won the Super Bowl in the first season with a new team after a career-high 41 touchdowns in a new offense. Number 7 is Matthew Stafford, quarterback for the LA Rams.
The fourth and final member of the Los Angeles Rams here in the top 50, Matthew Stafford, and he is about right where he's supposed to be as a Super Bowl champ. My name is Travis Rodgers. I host Locked On Rams. Click that subscribe button on Locked On Rams. Check us out on Locked On Rams on YouTube as well, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Here are the facts when it comes to Matthew Stafford and the impact that he has had on the Rams games. The Rams without Matthew Stafford were good. The Rams without Matthew Stafford were a division winner, were a playoff team, and had even gotten to a Super Bowl with Jared Goff at the helm of that team. In one season with Matthew Stafford, all of that has changed. They went from a team that might win the Super Bowl to a team that did win the Super Bowl and has a chance to win another one after that. It was the perfect marriage of player, coach, and team out of Detroit into a functional organization like they have here in Los Angeles, and Matthew Stafford brought an incredible amount of game. It is as simple as this. Without Matthew Stafford, the Rams do not win the Super Bowl last year, and without Matthew Stafford, they would be at an incredible disadvantage going into this season. For more on the Rams, make sure you check us out. Locked On Rams, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. My name is Travis Rodgers.
Coming up, a young gun that took the NFL by storm last year and the oldest man on the block. That's all coming up. Locked On's top 50 most valuable NFL players list is brought to you by Built Bar, the best tasting protein bars on the market. They come in dozens of different flavors. They're all made with 100% real chocolate, so they taste great. They're high in protein, but low in calories, low in sugar, and low in fat. Their newest flavor, Coconut Brownie Chunk Puff, is one of their best. You definitely want to check out that. Well, it's a limited time flavor. And if you head over to Built.com, you can use our promo code LOCKED15. It gets you 15% off of your order. Just plug in that promo code LOCKED15 to get you 15% off of your order at Built.com. Continuing our Locked On NFL Top 50 Most Valuable Player list presented by the Summer of Dave. Dave is the banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. What hasn't already been said about the number 6 player on the BetOnline Top 50? He is the greatest of all time, back again to take a shot at ring number 8. BetOnline's 6th most valuable player is the unretired quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Tom Brady.
James Yarko and David Harrison here of the Locked On Bucs podcast, talking about BetOnline's top 50 most valuable players when it comes to setting, moving, betting lines, where Buccaneers quarterback Tom Brady comes in at number 6.
Yeah, and if you want to know how valuable Tom Brady is to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers' chances of being successful, you have to look no further than pretty much everything that happened between 2003 and 2020 season, that is, and everything that happened in the short month and a half that Tom Brady was quote-unquote retired, because the Tampa Bay Buccaneers went from a 2022-2023 Super Bowl favorite to people questioning if they were in rebuild mode, if they were just going to tear everything down, lose about 6 or 7 free agents, or if they were even going to have a chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah, there's no question. Anytime Tom Brady touches the field, it's going to affect not only the game, but of course the betting lines. But for more on this and all things Buccaneers, as well as future Super Bowl 57 MVP Tom Brady and Super Bowl 57 champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers, make sure you tune in to the Locked On Bucs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The number 5 quarterback on the BetOnline Top 50 line movers certainly beat the odds last season in carrying his team all the way to the Super Bowl. The reigning comeback player of the year will try to run it back in 2022. Number 5 is Joe Burrow, quarterback for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Joey B is top 5. Hi again, everyone. I'm James Rapine of the Locked On Bengals podcast, and that's right, the first ever Locked On NFL Top 50 Most Valuable Players, according to BetOnline, are here, and Joe Burrow is 5th. And it's really not a surprise that he lands in the top 5 after winning Comeback Player of the Year last year, throwing for a franchise record 4,611 yards. He had 34 touchdown passes, completed over 70% of his passes, all while leading the NFL in yards per attempt at nearly 9 yards per attempt. Joe Burrow is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and the fact that he was able to lead the Bengals to Super Bowl 56 was just the cherry on top of the sundae of what has been really a successful career thus far for Joe Burrow, turning around the Bengals. For more on Burrow and his value to the Cincinnati Bengals, make sure you check out the Locked On Bengals podcast.
One of the most promising quarterbacks in the league, our next QB, hit 5,000 passing yards in just his second pro season. He's still waiting for that to translate into enough wins to make the playoffs, though. Number 4 on the BetOnline list is Justin Herbert, quarterback for the LA Chargers.
You're going to tell me that Justin Herbert is just the 4th most valuable player in the NFL? That sounds about right. What's up, guys? I'm Daniel Wade here from a Locked On Chargers. And yes, Justin Herbert is one of the most young, valuable players in the entire NFL. And the best way to prove that is I don't think that there's a single player in the NFL the Chargers would trade Justin Herbert for. I mean, given the fact that he's on a rookie contract and the fact that he's literally been historic through his first 2 seasons, most passing touchdowns, most passing yards, 300-plus yard games, wherever you're looking at, Justin Herbert is at the top of the list through 2 seasons. And the scary thing is, he's getting better. I mean, even with his 15 interceptions in 2021, he actually had the lowest percentage of turnover-worthy throws according to PFF, which means he got incredibly unlucky, and he's had 5 head coaches and 4 offensive coordinators since his time at Oregon. He gets both of them back in 2022, and you're going to see a new and improved version of who I think is going to be the most valuable player in the entire NFL. But more on the Golden Boy, you can follow or subscribe to the Locked On Chargers podcast, free and available wherever you get your podcast from.
Coming up, we're down to the final 3. You can probably guess who they are, but what order do they fall in? They might surprise you. That's up next. Locked On's top 50 most valuable NFL players list is brought to you by BetOnline, the #1 spot for all of your online sports gambling needs. You can head over there to get in on the golf action this weekend. Also, baseball is in full swing. You can also put bets in on MMA or boxing, whatever your favorite sport is. Just head over to betonline.net. Continuing our Locked On Top 50 NFL Most Valuable Players list presented by the Summer of Dave. Dave is the banking app that can help you get up to $500 instantly with extra cash. The 2-time reigning MVP does not take the top spot on this list. BetOnline's 3rd most valuable player is Aaron Rodgers, quarterback for the Green Bay Packers.
2 players more valuable than the 2-time reigning league MVP? Explain it to me like I'm 5. I'm Peter Bukowski, host of Locked On Packers, and I cannot for the life of me figure out why Aaron Rodgers is 3rd on this list. We just voted. We just had this contest. And guess what? Aaron Rodgers won it back-to-back seasons. They give an award out for this. I don't know if you know that. The most valuable player. And 2 years in a row, Aaron Rodgers won it. But let's go beyond just the accolades. Last year, in a statistic called Estimated Points Added, who contributed most to scoring, Aaron Rodgers led the league in EPA per play. He led the league in adding value to his team. And in fact, if you take the per play numbers and average them out over the course of a season, he was worth more than 8 points per game that he created essentially by being Aaron Rodgers. Now, the question is, how much more valuable is he to his team than their backup, than Jordan Love? Well, we saw this. We got to see it in action in Kansas City. This was the #1 offense in EPA when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback last season. When Jordan Love was the quarterback, they got in the end zone 1 time against a defense that had been scuffling for stretches of last season. How is anyone ahead of Aaron Rodgers, especially in a season where he does not have Devontae Adams? He's going to be their offense this season. No one can be ahead of the most valuable player at being valuable. That is just how this works.
Still widely regarded as the most talented quarterback in football, the number 2 player on the top 50 may have more doubts surrounding him than ever going into 2022. Everyone knows the MVP talent and arm strength haven't gone anywhere, but the division is definitely getting tougher, and his number 1 wide receiver left in the offseason. Number 2 is Patrick Mahomes, quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs.
It is absolutely absurd to me that Patrick Mahomes is number 2 on this list. I'm Chris Clark from Locked On Chiefs, and I would be okay if there was another QB that was ahead of him. The number 1 player I do not agree with being ahead of Patrick Mahomes. He has not had a very good record going against Patrick Mahomes, and we will see how that turns out this season. Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion, is the best QB in the AFC. He may be the best QB in the complete NFL, and I do think that as well. He is lethal, and he is somebody you're going to have to game plan for every single week. You watched it last season. He struggled early on. He was able to get it going in the second half of the season. And then there was another wrinkle that was thrown at him in the second half of the AFC Championship game. I think he is going to find ways to get past those things. He is going to be ready for that, and he's going to show you why he should be the number 1 QB in the NFL and the number 1 player on this list. Go check out more at Locked On Chiefs.
And finally, the number 1 player on the BetOnline top 50 line movers for 2022 finished second in MVP voting last year after a breakout season. He had never made a Pro Bowl before 2021, but now he's the biggest influencer of betting lines in the sport. Number 1 on the BetOnline top 50 is Josh Allen, quarterback for the Buffalo Bills.
They got it right. Josh Allen is the most valuable player in the NFL. I'm Joe Marino with Locked On Bills, and Josh Allen is extremely valuable to the Buffalo Bills because no team in the NFL asks their quarterback to do more. And the Buffalo Bills have featured an elite offense over the last 2 seasons, and Josh Allen, he's the straw that stirs the drink. He's limitless on the field. He's an instinctive passer to all levels of the field, both on schedule and off script. He can make things happen when things break down, and he's an unbelievable runner with the football. His physical skill allows the Bills to do anything that they want on offense. He's arguably the most complete dual-threat quarterback that the NFL has ever seen. For more on Josh Allen and his value to the Buffalo Bills, subscribe to the Locked On Bills podcast, free and available wherever you get your podcasts.
Well, that's it. Locked On's first NFL top 50 most valuable players, according to our partners at BetOnline. If you missed any of our countdown, subscribe to Locked On NFL wherever you get your podcasts. If you want more reaction to our list, check out your favorite Locked On NFL show to hear more analysis of our top 50 list. Locked On, your team every day.